Well, here's your reading for Sunday, the 16th of November. Welcome back once again. If you've never been here before, welcome. These are readings from the Science of Mind magazine, the Daily Guide section. So here we go. This month's readings, just as a reminder, are written by Rev David Alexender, who is, like me, he's an ordained minister with Centers for Spiritual Living, which is the Science of Mind community. So here we go. It's called "A Few Words Can Change Everything." The first quote is from William Hutchinson Murray. I did not look up William Hutchinson Murray, who apparently said, "There's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too." And that second part, I think, is actually a reinterpretation of the great German philosopher Goethe's statement, who said that once you commit, then providence indeed does step in and help you. And this is what the story is about, actually, as we will find out. Ernest Holmes says, "To hold one's thoughts steadfastly to the constructive, to that which endures, and to the truth may not be easy in a rapidly changing world. But to the one who makes the attempt, much is guaranteed." And that was from the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes' major work, and it's on page 423. And that is not the end of the book. And this is from Rev David himself. He's talking about his one of his foundations. He says, "At the beginning of last year, an opportunity arose that both thrilled and terrified me. The chance to create a documentary telling the origin story of my nonprofit, Kaleidoscope Child Foundation. The idea emerged during a board meeting as we envisioned new ways to secure an endowment and to ensure we've done everything possible to keep our global educational initiatives thriving long after we're gone." Soon after, an email from director Michael McKinley followed, and in the phone call, that set the dream in motion. Such big leaps require stretching. The projected cost of production exceeded $100,000, which was money that we could not redirect from our donors, whose contributions already sustained vital programming. He goes on to say, "We explored new revenue streams, invited new supporters, and pieced together the resources to move forward. There were perceived obstacles, timelines to meet, government paperwork to navigate, international travel logistics to arrange, and coordinating film crews and schedules in Cambodia and India. As departure day neared, we still needed funds. We chose to move forward anyway, trusting that the vision itself carried momentum. Hours before we left for the airport, a final call came. An investor we'd been waiting on confirmed a wire transfer. It was just enough to cover all filming costs. This experience reaffirmed a phrase I've carried in my heart for years. Resource follows commitment," which is going back to the first quote, right? "When we align with a vision greater than our fear and dare to take the next steps without guarantee, unseen avenues of support can appear." And guess what? This actually took me back to the Indiana Jones movie, which is, hang on a second. I actually went and looked at Gemini to get some more information because I've forgotten parts of it. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is 1989. Can you believe that? That's 36 years ago. My God. And the film sequence apparently was called the Leap of Faith Trial. And apparently, Indiana Jones, as I remember, is looking for the Holy Grail, and there are 3 tests that he has to go through. And one of them is to step out over this chasm and just trust that something's going to take care of him. And as the ones of you who saw the movie remember, as he steps out in faith, then this bridge appears and he can walk across it, and he eventually gets the Holy Grail. And why does he want it? Because his father's been shot and he's dying. And he knows that if he can get the Holy Grail, fill it with water, have his father drink from it, then he will survive, because the Holy Grail was supposed to endow immortality, amongst other things. But apparently the immortality was only limited to an area around the temple where they found this thing. So anytime anybody talks about taking a leap of faith, that's what always comes to my mind. So Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, or it could have been called In Search of the Holy Grail, I guess. So you never know. So that's what it reminds me of. So how many times in your life have you actually stepped out in faith? I'll tell you one time I did, when almost at the beginning of my career. Well, when I left college, I went to work in an engineering office in Wales, which is the country in the west of England, right? So you got England, Wales, Scotland to the north, Ireland's further to the west as well. So I went to work in Wales, and after just over a year, we used to get professional magazines, and I would thumb through these. And in one of them, there were two ads that caught my eye. I was really wanting to get out of the country and work overseas. And two things caught my eye. One was for a job in Saudi Arabia, and one was for a job in the Seychelles. The Seychelles is a great location. Why I picked Saudi Arabia, I don't know, because the Seychelles, is a gorgeous area. But anyway, I picked Saudi Arabia, and it turned out to be what eventually led me through to find my wife and all the rest. It's a long story. But the bottom line is, when I got on that plane to fly out to the Middle East, I had never been to the Middle East before. I'd traveled around Europe, but I'd never been to the Middle East. And it was a big leap of faith, and it worked. So there we are. Not as big a leap of faith as the other David here took when he was trying to get the movie for his foundation. So my question to you is, what leaps of faith have you taken into your life? What leaps of faith have you taken in your life, and what's happened? What's been the result? And what are you going to do when the next one comes along? So, and we never know. We never know when these are going to come along. His affirmation says, I commit to the path before me, guided by wisdom, unattached to outcome, anchored in trust. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that although we're following a spiritual path, not everything is directly connected with that. Lots of stuff is just about living life as it is, but living it from a different perspective than before you got on a spiritual path. So that's my real message today, that when we commit in faith, there is a power greater than we are, right where we are right now, and we can use that power. And I claim for each and every person watching this, that power is active in each life, and that power is bringing good to each person who watches this and to all those for whom they care. And I release this word into that divine law to allow that power to do its work. And I am so grateful for this. I release my word, calling it done, and so it is. Tomorrow, my colleague, Reverend Lisa Ryan, will be on at about 9:15 on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page. I will be back, God willing, inshallah, God willing, at 5 o'clock tomorrow, depending when my Monday mediation ends. So until next time, please take care of yourselves, because that is incredibly important. Please take care of yourselves. Namaste.